Papercut here, coming to you with a coaching session video. Tree Frog was nice enough to let me do my coaching session public for my Discord. I decided to record it as well and upload it to YouTube. So if you're interested in high gold, low plat coaching and seeing what it's like and seeing if you could take that advice and use it yourself, this would be a great video for you. As always, it is a public session, so people are joining in and out. So I meant to mute the Discord voices noises, but I think you will hear some Discord noises. Apologize about that. Hope you can overlook it for me. If you're interested in your own coaching, please reach out to me on Discord, which is in the description of the video below, as well as follow me on Twitch. Good luck on your games. Anyway, so as we open into the game, Dry Arabia, do you play French the most? I saw you playing a little bit of Japan. Is it mostly French for you?
I do play mostly French, yeah. Japan is what I started with in this game, so I just like tried them out again.
Yep.
But yeah, I play France mostly.
Okay, so when you enter the game and you see Byzantine, what do you know about Byzantine? What do you think is the best time and place to attack?
I try to just do one TC like knight and archer pressure against Biz, and it's worked in every game except for this one.
Is your goal to end the game in feudal or to do pressure and then go castle and win?
I'm usually just trying. Yeah, I'm trying to just kill as much as I can. I mean, I think like my goal is to end the game in feudal, but you know, the more I've been playing, I guess you definitely can just take your wins and then get castle, and it's fine. But I noticed like in Valdemar's French opener for 1TC, he talked about how against Byzantine you really don't want to let them get going with like the olive oil. So the more pressure you can put on the berries and stuff like that, the better.
Yeah.
So. It did not work as well in this game.
Yeah. The olive oil mechanic is pretty crazy for Byzantine, and basically, like, Byzantine and Ayyubids are both civs. You actually have to go in as soon as possible. Like, for Ayyubids, almost a Dark Age rush is necessary, just because once they get going, it's so hard to catch up to them. It's very hard. Like, I played a game against Byzantine yesterday. I went 2TC China. My eco was way bigger than his, but he was still made almost double the units to me, just because of the olive oil mechanic and the cistern mechanic, allowing them to produce units a lot faster out of one building. So it gives them this huge advantage. Their power spike is pretty quick. And so luckily you're a civ any civ that can make units out of their starting landmark is set up to like put instant pressure and try to shut this down. But the raiding and the attack is so important. And the thing we're going to be focusing with you in all your games I've seen, because in every game you played pretty aggressive, it's going to be a lot of, one, consistently making units. I'm just going to tell you up front where I'm going to be like pointing out. One, consistently making units. Two, our plan of attack and how we attack and set up an attack. And then three, like timing and staying alive to hold to the best time to attack. It's going to be the thing we're going to be looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get to the start here. A big thing. I'm not a huge fan of your scouting pattern. In fact,
that's because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like looking for an initial sheep here so that I don't have to run out of food. But yeah. What would you recommend?
Yeah, the issue you're going to see with the scouting pattern is that you miss out on all your food. And so you end up going farms way too early and it kills your tempo. And when it comes to being aggressive, tempo is everything. And let's make sure we have shared definition. By tempo, I mean you are the one acting and your opponent is the one having to respond. That's what I mean by tempo. And so for you as an aggressive civ who uses a food heavy unit like a knight, staying away from berries and staying off of farms is so important. And having a good opening scout really helps that, because you can find all the resources you're going to be potentially using. Especially if you're going to be aggressive, the whole point of being aggressive is to not have to use all the hunts on the map and just have so much food that you're just pumping units. So the big thing is,
it's not just like hunting for sheep and scouting out what they're doing. It's really like I gotta find the deer and the boar and the whatever.
The opening scout, in general, the first 6 minutes of any game hyper defines how the game's gonna go. That's not to say you can't have a shit for 6 minutes and come back, but you set yourself up for success so much in the first 6 minutes. So like, and there's so much downhill effect of that. So for example, since you didn't notice the double berries and the gold, since you didn't know there's a deer here and a boar here, that kills your food. And that happened because you didn't scout it well. And so the scouting pattern I would change is you dive middle, always dive middle first. Because the hypothetical is you have to assume your opponent is also scouting correctly as well. And if they don't, then you'll potentially get an advantage. Now, there's always the sheep RNG, but in general, and the goal is I want to scout as much of the map as efficiently as possible, which means I'm not going back over an area I've already scouted, and then I'm getting back to the opponent as they hit feudal, so I can see their feudal opening landmark, and I can see like where my plan of attack is. So I would dive middle, and then if you see the opponent scout in the middle, you want to go opposite of them. So if they come down and break right, you break left, and then you need to get back to drop off Sheik for your first starting 3. So you want to go about halfway, cut to the fall, to like hit the edge, whichever way you turn, and then scout the entire quadrant. So you've unlocked a fourth of the map, right? About a fourth of the map is now unlocked for you, and you should find sheep that will then allow you to drop off, and you'll be good on sheep for a minute. You then come back and explore the other quadrant all the way down to the opponent's base. So now you've unlocked another half of the map. So at this point, you've unlocked 3/4 of the map roughly, and you'll find more sheep potentially. And then at that point, you're getting there probably around the time they start to age up or they have aged up. You do a circle, and your goal is you're asking yourself, where's their secondary food? Where can I raid? Especially depending on the civ. So for Biz, what's the most important things to raid?
Probably the berries or gold.
Berries,
Yeah.
in my opinion, berries being the most important, because if they get gold, yes, they get age up, but if you're pressuring, they're not going to age up. They're gonna spend resources on farms, or in this case, olive oil or olive groves, and blocking off the first starting berries slows their initial mercenaries, which is where their tempo comes from. Their tempo comes when the first mercenaries come out, and that's when things start to feel hard with them. And so cutting off these berries and forcing them to make units on a more equal footing to you is very, very important. Gold would be secondary, but whatever's kind of in the front, and then you want to identify where's the second level resources. So knowing the berries are here, the deer's here, then they have a gold behind the gold, another berry's behind there. So if I'm thinking about like what I want to cut off, oh, this part to cut off is huge. I don't want them to get the next berries. I don't want them to get this gold. I want them to stay off these berries. So this kind of like half point here is where I want to center everything. It's kind of how I want to think about it. But when it comes to scouting, that's what you want to do. And then as you're setting up and getting and hitting feudal yourself and making units, you want to scout the last quadrant. If you have a lot of sheep, try to rush back and drop them off. What you can always do is get halfway and then yeet the sheep towards your base and kind of hope they get there. Another option you can do is if you get to here and you realize you found a lot more sheep, cut back real fast and jump them off and then go to the opponent's base. But a more efficient scouting pattern will do you wonders, both for sheep getting, both for making sure you know where your resources are and knowing what your opponent is, because this game is so much about scouting, which actually leads me to the fourth thing I'm going to be coaching you on a lot is scouting. You often are doing things without visual knowledge, which gets you in trouble. So
just like making a bunch of assumptions.
Which, at your level, which I generally kind of put the high silver to low plat on a level, the skill difference varies heavily through it, but it's generally on the same tier. A big issue is we don't scout. We then assume our opponent's abilities, which we often either underassume, so we like, oh, they don't have anything, and then we die, or we way overassume and we play very scared. It's like, don't assume, just go figure it out. Now, you might actually watch an upper level player. They will scout very well. They'll scout consistently, but they also just have a great feeling of, if I see this, I can predict the next 4 moves.
Right.
And so if we copy the pro scouting pattern, you'll still make mistakes, but you notice they have almost a timer in their head. They're like, okay, I gotta check the opening. Okay, this happened. Now I'm gonna go check the stone. I'm gonna go check this. And they're constantly just like trying to get the information. So you come in initially, and my first little thing here is your scout should really be with your first 9 as they show up.
Yeah, I did notice that when I was looking over my replays. Like, man, I think I'm using my scout a lot, and I'm not at all. Like in like every game I've looked at, it's just like chilling in my base somewhere. Like, no, totally.
If you're feeling that like I need to do something right now, ask, do I even know what's happening? And try to send a scout forward and check. Or send like one knight to different sources, so that at least you're catching him if he like leaves. But you come through and you notice he's not on these berries and he's not on this gold. Do you think that's going to stay that way?
No.
No. He literally pulled away because he knew you were coming, and he's waiting for his first spearman to come out. But the second that night passed, he went right back on these berries. And look, he's already walking back to the gold.
I was like, oh, he's not there anymore. Like, well, why would he do that? Why would he stay away? Yeah.
A powerful thing you see upper level players do is they don't force anything. So like, if you run up and he's off the berries, you could just sit here. You don't have to leave.
Yeah, like there's nothing shooting at me.
And there's this feeling of, well, I gotta raid, I gotta do something. No, I mean, like, him being off the berries is a win.
Is doing something.
Is doing something.
Idle
And then your second knight comes in, your second knight goes checks the gold. And they're on the gold. Cool, I'm gonna sit here on the gold. And like once the spears show up, then you go away. But like you are forcing him to have to stay off these berries. And that is damage. It's not killing a vill damage, but it's something. So instead we kind of come in and thank you. I was about to say it. If you just join, please make sure you're muting. And you dive into the wood line, and this is what this is once again why scouting's so important. Especially for a knight charge, because the knight will charge if it sees the unit, but if it can't see the unit, it won't charge. So instead of hitting one of these villagers and killing it, it just waltzes into them and he pops the air Accuratoi defense and just goes for it. And you save the knight, which is huge. But you really had a chance right here to kill a Vill, because he doesn't have a spearman out yet. He's upgrading. Or does he have a spearman out? He has one, but it's a Dark Age spearman. Like, it's not even upgraded yet.
Oh wow! In my brain, I thought there were more spears there. Okay.
It's
that's a game knowledge thing too. I did not know that the Byzantine had the armor buff like that.
Yep. And it will do okay against one knight, but if your second knight was there, then you just slaughter these Vills. And this is it. This starting moment is so vital for you against Biz, because what you've done is ran a knight through, and then he went back on berries, back on gold. You then dove into a wood line that was pretty exposed and did no damage. And he's about to start getting Limited out. And it would have been, if you had kept the first knight here and the second knight shows up, and then you dove wood line with two knights. And generally, you want to kind of work your knights into pairs early on, because two knights charging and hitting the same Vill insta kills it.
Right. So it's better to. It's better to wait on the crazy multitasking with knight. Well, first of all, I'm not even like good at multitasking knights yet, but like it's better in the early game to focus on the two then. Okay. And
if your APM is this is a tip I use myself that I feel like helps. If your APM is not super high, you do positioning and go. So what I mean is that you position the secondary attack. So there's an opening up here. Once again, you didn't scout it, so you didn't know. But your first two knights are here, and you hit the wood line and you back up. The third knight goes back here and is sitting here. The next time you go in, you basically have that knight on a hockey and you move in, and you trust that he's paying attention up here, and you're gonna let that knight kind of move and go. And then when he pushes this one away, you pull them back, you bounce over to that knight, and you just pull it back. And it might die, it might not, but like that's the way. Because here's the thing: if you're struggling with that many pings in APM, your opponent does at this level. And even doing two attacks at once, you will often be surprised how many Vills you kill, because he has nothing over here, right? If a second knight came in right now, it's killing two Vills before he realizes.
I've just got like one underneath that's not doing anything right now.
And so like if you had gone in here and all you did was box on this knight, a move up here, he probably gets a kill or two. And we're focusing so.
I'm not thinking about my positioning where I leave the units. I like leave them casually way too far away. Like my scout's doing nothing right there. That thing is like a million miles away from Egypt.
Yep. He has no scout here. He has no tower. So you could sit him right here and he won't see it. Now he might search for it, but like what you'll also see sometimes, if you're trusting, like my first knight came in here, my second knight is now coming in. The first knight you have here, you could just shift click and do right click, and then move back in. Trusting by the time your knight's coming back in to attack, you're coming back in as well.
Okay.
And you just set it on a pre-set up like ring around back to attack. Now high level players, they are able to bounce between their units constantly and kind of keep moving them around. But there's little shortcuts we can use because we're playing to people of similar skill level. We don't need to be a top level player with the most insane macro in the world. Just causing multiple pings and forcing them to have to react, they'll make mistakes. Which is absolutely you have to do against Biz. And if this, once again, always pair the scout with a knight. And hell, you can always make another scout out of the School of Cavalry.
I was gonna ask you about the double scout opening too. Should I just like? I've seen a lot of French players do stuff like that.
I think it's fine with French, mostly because reducing your opponent's sheep is so important. And I'm actually starting to change my opinion where if I think I'm going to be aggressive, I think I'm going to start opening 2 scout, just because, especially against boom civs or against fast castle civs, denying sheep is so powerful. It means they have to lead the TC, they're running low on resources faster, And I've been burned a couple games where I do 1 scout and my castle and my opponent who wants the fast castle goes 2 scouts. And now they have so much sheep they never have to leave. And that like really hurts my ability to do pressure. So I think it's worth it. Try 2 scouts. You'll have to adjust your opening just a little bit, but if you get more sheep, it is definitely worth it. So it's just this early positioning is huge. And this is a vital moment for you. And since you're not really getting much out of it, and see, once again, since he walks up, he should be charging in. But since you don't have a scout with him, you don't pre-see the villagers, and then they get to run away. And so you're losing a lot of the advantages of your French knights. And now you sit here, but he's making spears, he's going to come over and push this away. That leads to our second issue. You've been doing a lot of microing here. What have you not been doing at home?
Weird. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Sorry, my mic was being weird. Yeah, I got some idle time. I got 438 food right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just not making units.
Yeah.
Like the most important thing of an aggressive civ is you are always making units. How do you hotkey your production?
I think that's on 6.
It's on 6. So you're used to bending that far. I don't like going past 4. That's my personal. If you
6 feels fine to me. I just straight up didn't do it.
Yeah. Right. It is so important that there's something cycling in your mind where you're like, I'm always making villagers, and then I'm constantly pressing 6 and just queuing through and adding more, and just queuing as many units as I can, and as I build more production, I'm immediately adding it to 6, and then I'm constantly doing it. Because man, the amount of times I've lost a game where I look down and I realize I've banked 1,500 resources and I just wasn't making units because I got overpressured. Like it's killer. It's honestly killer. So it's really important that as much as possible, we are continue making units. Also, you're going a little heavy on gold, which you're going to notice in a second.
Yeah, I have 9 on gold right now. Probably need more on
food.
I guess wood or food, yeah.
Well, if you want to go into archers, you need to start adding to wood now. It'd be better if there was like 6 on gold and those 3 on wood. And the idea being is that, and once again, I'm not big on if you do this, you need this amount of villagers. It's more of, I'm going to start making archers. I need to start rallying to wood. It's general signpost. If I need archers, I add to wood. If I'm adding a stable,
on archers here. Actually, what do you think?
No, you weren't,
okay.
because it was so important to get your early knights out. Because here's what I think about it. First, knight beats 1 spear. 2 knights beat 2 spear. And like it's not until he really gets the production speed up and going that's like, okay, now I need archers. So the initial 3 to 4 knights are really important. I'd focus on those. And then you start dropping archery ranges and just going ham on archers. But I think that would really help is not overdoing it on gold. I do love how you rush the hunt early. That's going to be huge for you on food. But yeah, it's so much about these early little eco decisions, which provide us tempo, which provide us the ability to do damage. So now he's on, you're sitting here, you're not doing any damage on that. He's just getting the berries for free. And I think part of it is you kind of need a cycle of raiding, where it's like night 1, night 2, night 1 goes in, night 2 circles around, night 1 back at base, and you're kind of just rotating through those things. My big thing is after every time you do a raid and you pull back, bounce back to your TC, which should be on a hotkey, queue more villagers, check your resources, ask if there's something you need, fix it, queue up more units, back to your units, and now you're doing it again. That's basically the
rhythm going.
Yes, it's a rhythm. I call it the macro cycle, where you're constantly asking, do I have units? Am I making villagers? Am I making units? How are my resources? What do I need? Based on my goal. My goal is to be aggressive. I need to make units and continue attacking.
That makes sense, because you think you have time, but you don't.
No.
You literally have no time to waste, especially if you're trying to put pressure on.
Mm-hmm. Especially against these civs that pop real fast. Like if this was like China or Abbasid who are trying to do 2TC, you have a little bit more time. But like this is all out right now.
Yeah, I would have never thought about the scout French charge thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's even another reason for like 2 scouts, honestly.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense.
If you watch, I think a great example of this is in Beastie's most recent series he's doing. He did like the Slay the Beast thing where 16 players challenged him, and he played French in his first game. So like watch the first video and then watch his French game. And he does 2 scout opening to get extra sheep, and then he has basically knights coming from 3 different directions. I don't expect you to do that, but the point is that 1 and 2 sets of knights each have their own scout, and they're constantly going in and out, and they're rarely actually killing villagers. It's more that they're running in and forcing the opponent to run the villagers away. And in the back, he's just building an archer mass, and so like he's running around the base, and then he has an archer mass building here.
'Cause you force the spears, and then you get like a critical mass of archers.
Yes,
and
you don't want to walk in with 2 archers. That's not enough. You need like 6 or more to start really feeling it. Another small thing: if he ever chases you this far out, dive that spear. Like, bring in the next knight, dive that spear, because anytime you can pick one of them when they're far away from base is really, really important.
Okay.
So now you're back at home. Now you're massing more. You realize you send a villager forward on accident. I do it all the time. Get wheelbarrow ASAP. If you have extra gold, wheelbarrow instantly. You got double rod axe, which is great. You got the hunt, which is great.
But wheelbarrow is like is more preferable to those, I guess.
Wheelbarrow is one of the most important ones, especially if you're going to go on hunt. If you think about it, if your villagers have to move, 1, you want them moving to the spot faster. 2, if they have to do this far walk between where they're gathering food and back, you really want them to be faster.
Okay. Yeah, and I just learned about the like trying to 2-shot the deer when they're close to the mill thing. But that's that's pretty APM heavy.
Yeah.
That is something that's pretty cool to do.
Yeah, it's all about worth. Like, if you have the APM, do it. If not, wheelbarrow will suffice, unless someone comes and just pushes these deer like completely out of in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so we've done a lot of time in this early game. I wanna talk about we're in the middle. What do we do now? So you're massing, and as much as possible, get your units together here, especially because then he starts chasing you, and
then they're out of position right there.
Yes, and I can see you decide, should I take this fight? He has 3 Keshiks, 2 Keshiks, and 7 spears, and honestly, you probably don't want to take this fight yet. And the reason you can't take this fight is because you didn't mass as well as you should have. You have 500 food and 700 gold. If those were knights, which they could have been, because you kept making knights, you would have, instead of 5 knights, you would have 8 knights. And that swings the tables here. Like, these early fights, it can be so much about, did you make the unit or not when you were supposed to make it? That's how tight these margins are in these early fights. And since you didn't consistently make knights, you're down amount, and now you have to run, and that's good for him because his Keshiks can hunt you down. Now, it's actually good for you he went Keshiks, in my opinion, because your knights easily counter Keshiks. But look at...
They're all low.
Yeah, it's the problem, is that since you weren't raiding well, and judiciously, you now have 3 knights that are basically one shot.
And then I have to like go the upgrade, but then that delays more knight production.
And the upgrade's usually expensive, but you have the gold for it. But yeah, which is why you want a second stable. And so you see how our decisions beginning have railroaded us. You should have been on wood heavier earlier, which allowed you to add more stables, which you could have done the upgrades, still make knights. You could have been making archers earlier, but now you have way too much gold because you went 9 on gold way too early. It's like those small things really do add up. Even in like, an upper level player, like a really high level player would go, well, these are kind of small things to focus on for someone with this elo. But at the same time, it's like the thought process is really important. Of, if I want to make archers, I go like thinking through that. I go archers. I need to be heavier on wood. How I think through my raid, so I'm not taking damage, because that's setting yourself up now for this fight that doesn't feel very good. So then you start massing here. And you turn, and you wait, and you fight, and he runs away. And now what do we do here? And that's the big question, is my first attack didn't work. He's pushed me back. He's making units. What do I do?
Yeah, I actually had no idea what to do here.
Yeah. You decide to rush castle.
As you can imagine. Okay.
Which is not a bad idea.
Because I already had the gold for it. And so I could just like shift people off of gold and go heavier on food. And, okay.
Yeah. It's basically your options to either rush castle or get a second TC. Because now you're behind on eco. You have 37 villagers, and he has 31 villagers, and you're like, wait a second, I have more villagers than him. But if you look at income per minute, your income is slightly higher, but he's getting 278 olive oil, which means he's getting, every 2 minutes, he's getting 2 Keshiks. So he's getting a Keshik a minute. And that can start to add up. Now, in my opinion, here's what you try to do. At this point, it becomes, once your initial attack doesn't work, becomes, can I delay the game and do damage? And so a big thing you want to do is use your knights to try to do damage while at home you're rushing castle. And then either going 2 TC or trying to do a castle push. So You're making more units, which is great. If you're gonna sit in your base, sit in a protective spot. So like you have villagers exposed here and here. I would have rallied here. It's small, but like whenever possible, if you're sitting and waiting, rally your units to a point where you're defending your villagers, which will prevent them from coming out of nowhere and just sniping these. But this is your time to take these knights and go try to do something. One, I would have grabbed the upgrade real fast. You could afford it. But he's not walled up at all. I would have made another scout and seen if I could... Oh, no, he's walling up now. But it's like, oh, there's a wall here.
But no, I definitely had time.
You had time. You could have snuck 2 knights back here, and then the second you raided on this side and he ran down, the second you see the units chase, you then come in the opposite side. Like, you had a chance... And really, it's not, once again, it's not about I have to kill villagers. It's I just need to keep him moving and in his base while I rush castle and try to make a move here, which a desperation move could have been as you're aging up, you try to drop like 3 barracks and go pure men at arms. You could have just tried to instantly upgrade your archers and do a huge archer mass.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, though, is that I wasn't even thinking about going castle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you do...
That wasn't even a part of my game plan, and mentally I was like, oh, if I go harass, he's just gonna come in and catch you.
And I could tell because you have 18 on, you have 19 on wood, which is an insane amount to have on wood at this point. Once again, it's because you don't know. Like, you should be on these other food sources, which is dangerous. He has Keshiks, but he's feeling very defensive. One thing you have going for you is that you have made him super defensive, and he is continuous... Oh, he stopped producing units. But he is defensive. He actually, I think, is trying to go castle himself now. But you commit a cardinal sin that I see people of literally all levels do, which is, I'm going castle. I guess I should attack right now. It's like, why? Why are we attacking? You know what I mean? Like, these are the units that are going to form the backbone of your army.
Right,
that
you want them alive so you can upgrade.
Yes, because the thing you have to do is you're pretty much committed at this point as the person who went aggressive to hitting castle and then instantly attacking with a castle army. Like, you're gonna have this tight window. If you hit castle, you get your upgrades going. He's a little behind because he built a few more units to defend. You gotta go. And so you want these archers upgraded. You want these knights upgraded. And you're all in it at that point again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I didn't even think about it, but it's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the more value you get out of your veteran upgrades, the more units you have. Mm-hmm. It's pretty basic, but yeah. Not what I was
and I'm really thinking of the upgrades I need. Like, the second you age up, you want to hit that second level steeled arrow, because your veteran archers hitting with +2 would be massive. And with the units he has, like, Keshiks aren't that strong. Like, archer mass veteran with double would be huge and could allow you to walk in the base and do damage. And also, that's why I'm not a huge on the Royal Institute. I'd rather you go Guild Hall.
I don't have enough knights right now.
You don't have enough knights, and all the upgrades are super expensive. You need the gold. Like, you need to ask yourself, what am I going to spend the gold on as I age up? And that's going to be your veteran upgrades for your 2 units, and then the very important blacksmith upgrades, which for you it's going to be steeled arrow, and it's going to be arrow defense.
Yeah.
Quick question: can anyone hear that banging?
I can hear that.
Okay, good. My wife's working in our kids' room, which is right behind me, so I just want to make sure. No, it wasn't audible.
No, it is audible, actually. That's what I was saying.
Oh, it is?
I can hear it. Sorry.
Hey, 1 second. Okay, so, but instead you're gonna yeet yourself into the enemy, and then lose the stuff. And once again,
no, literally just like front line with the archers.
No scouts, all vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was literally your chance to win right here. If you upgrade these archers, if you keep making archers and you push them with veteran upgrades, that's the win right here. Instead, you lose all your knights, and your archers are dead. And here's the thing: the second he hits castle, it's over, because he's gonna drop Golden Horn, and he literally jumps from 26 military. He's gonna jump to 76 in about 3 minutes, while you are at I think like 34. It doesn't help that you're using wood on farms, which is super expensive. It's 75 per farm, which that could have been archers.
And I still have deer. I still have like
all this stuff out here. Yeah. So
there's literally deer like right in my fog of war right there. I just didn't scout like you're saying.
Yeah, and so it's very much like we could have watched the rest of it, but it was over at that point. And it all becomes, once again, the principles of attacking, which is I'm raiding but not taking too much damage. I'm making units constantly. I'm adjusting my eco for the units I need, and then I'm taking a decisive fight. And it's not about killing Vils. It's just about, can I delay, make him walk off resources, make him make bad decisions.
Sure.
That's gonna come once again here, where you can kind of call it dynamic decision making. It's, as the game is going, are we making the best decisions for in the moment, like the best place to attack, the best place to raid. We're gonna play Pancake here for everyone in the audience. Oh, before I go, any questions from the audience about that previous game, or at a device we talked about things like that? Okay, you take that as a no. So for those in the audience, though, Treefog's child did distract him a lot during this game.
It's unfortunate. It's some straight up copium, but it really did happen. The
Yeah.
baby woke up and started crying, and my wife was like fussing at me.
Yeah, I've been there too. So
I tried to force it, but it didn't go too well.
which is like, I bet my opponent doesn't have a kid crying right now. What the hell?
He said he got Plat off this game, so.
Good for him.
Yeah.
There's a guy who got Conqueror off beating me once, and then went on Reddit and posted about how he got Conqueror off beating me. I just had to be like, congratulations, man, you deserve it. That's huge.
Right.
Hitting Conqueror for the first time should be something that everyone celebrates, and I guess I should be happy it was off me.
Yeah, that's sick though.
Oh man. Well, your sheep start here was pretty rough. This map, you gotta dive center first, because there's always, look, there's a clutch of 5 sheep right outside.
Yeah, they're all over there.
Right there. That's pretty.
Yeah. So that's just like the classic. Just go to the center. And
Always
play,
center first.
back. Yeah,
Yep.
something like that.
All right, so he is going to do the classic English Abbey of Kings into 2TC, which, as French, your best move is to actually just, in my opinion, just fucking go for it. Because what English players really want to do right now is drop this Abbey, raid with the king, drop the TC, and then insta-go castle. And you have this window to just go for it. Especially, my thing is just attack the TC on the gold. Even if they get aged up, if they can't get gold, they can't do anything in castle anyway. But your decision point on where to attack and how to attack is really going to hamper you here. So you age up, you immediately head to berries. Ouch. I think that was just you. It's because you didn't have the sheep, right? Which sucks. That's going to hurt your starting tempo, but it's not too bad. Drop off the sheep. You're going to move to the deer in a second, which is great. You come and you're really trying.
Should I have just like walked far to the deer? You think?
Not yet. No, that's such a far walk. I actually would have dropped this mill, and then you want to go wheelbarrow before you haul your ass all the way out here, because that's so much idle time. You don't want if the deer are close to it, you don't want to lose like a night or two because you walked all the way to the deer when you have sheep. So you actually know where the TC is going to come down. So placing yourself here is smart, but you have to know he's coming with the king. And all you need to do is leave one knight to chase the king, and you'll be fine. You even catch him running in. But let's watch them. Let's watch from your camera perspective here. So he comes in.
Oh yeah, I just like the knight just like goes past him or something.
Well, you saw him running in. I don't know why you didn't pull these villas immediately.
Yeah.
Just box him and press G, or box him and right click him back. And do these ones as well. Just send these back to the sheep real fast. Instead, you're gonna. Does he get that one? No, but he gets one over here.
He gets one of these, yeah.
Which is like honestly unacceptable.
Pretty much
Unacceptable. You're looking at it. Not only that, he brought 2 sheep. He brought 2 knights with him, and then your knight was late stopping this. So like his king actually got immense value, way more value than it should have. All you needed to do was pull all these villas back onto food, and have one knight chase him, and then you wanted to watch this because this was big right here. All you do is sit right and just click V right here. You walk too far back. Once you're outside of range, just click V, and then you want to keep running in and out, because delaying that TC is pretty big. And once again, you don't need to kill villas necessarily. Just force him to have to consistently run back and forth. And you missed the. It's just he got you. You were there to stop the TC, and then we lost it. But it's okay. It's okay. You chase the king away. You're
it's
here.
the same thing I did in that last game too, where I just like pull it too far back for no reason.
You kill the king, and then you're back up here, and then you see, okay, he wants to spend that TC. He wants to gather gold, and what you can do here is once again just delay the gold. Like look at his current situation. If he just dropped a second TC, you know he has nothing else. Okay, he has no units. He has no production buildings. You don't even have to scout it. It's just a fact if he just got the second TC down. So you have 2 production buildings. You have your landmark and your archery range. This is the best point to attack. Why?
Because he needs the gold.
He needs the gold.
And it's not as powerful as the initial TC.
Yep.
There's no guard tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This TC is relatively weak. You can take it down with a ram, 2 rams, and a sizable enough force. It will be fine. I understand raiding the wood line, but this is your attack point. Because if you kill this TC, if you push him off gold, it's game over.
Okay.
Especially, look at what we scouted. The key about Rocky River is that everything is super far away from the initial area. There's rarely anything close. So look, his next closest resource is way far out. His next closest gold is all the way out here. And so one thing I would do is, if you know you're going to attack somewhere, and that's the thing you're going to pressure, right before you attack, just shift-click 1 unit, like 1 knight over here. And you can put the knight here, and click D, and have it just patrol from here to here. And he'll catch them, if they run past. If that's the fear. But, like, this is the spot to attack. And instead, and you start, like, you should have been rallying straight to here. Instead, you leave. You just leave.
Yeah.
Like, he currently has 9 vills on that. So if you just kept running, and look at the range on this. Like, an archer could stand here and shoot these villagers. You could even run a villager up and tower this right here. Like, there's so many things you could do to force him off this gold and make his life hell. Like, every time you charged in, he'd have to garrison them, so 2 would have to run back. Like, you could kill his gold production, but you just let him have it.
That's true, and I just end up like slamming my brains into the front wall.
Yeah.
Where his council.
So instead, you dive under his better TC, and he sees that coming. And yeah, you kind of get it, but you lose 1 knight. Second knight is very hurt because that second TC like slaps. It's very good.
Yeah, they
and so
shoot double the arrows or something like
yes,
that.
they do. And so once again, it's dynamic decision making. I know I want to attack. I want to attack the weak point. What's the weak point? It's the second TC on the gold, which is fairly far away from the original TC. The original TC doesn't even cover attacking the second TC.
Okay.
So this is your spot, like right here.
Yeah, it's true. I think I would have easily won if I would have just attacked
easily, because he was pretty delayed on getting units out. And also what you did, and this is another thing, it's also psychological. Since he didn't see your units, he rushed castle. And if you had been consistently pressuring him, he would have felt the need to make units, which is good for you. You don't want him to castle. And eventually, he's going to burn himself with resources. Yes, he can make farms, but he will run through this wood line. He'll have to go here. Another thing you can do is, if you're massing here and he knows, have 2 knights right here, and the second you attack, send the other 2 into the wood line. Like, there's little things you can do. My big thing is, if you know you're going to cause attention to go somewhere, can you attack with a little tiny force on another end? Because you'll be surprised how many villagers you kill when you do that. But the story of this game is just the attack point. You decide to set up here, which is pretty far away. You're rushing up upgrades, which you buy the healing. I would rather just more knights. Like, honestly, just more knights. Because he's just now making spears. He does not have enough to kill knights. You literally just need a few archers to make to make the ram.
Unplayable for him, yeah.
Second, you put the ram so far away. You know how slow rams are? Rams are so slow. That's why I want you set up here, because if you drop the ram here, you're just walking in, and the ram instantly goes. Like, setting up this far back, it's once again, you're just giving him so much time.
Yep.
And then he hits castle, and he felt free to hit castle. One, I think he probably used every villager to castle, and I think he did because he has no resources. That means he probably pulled every villager to make this really fast. Which, if you'd been right here, or if you'd been right here, and then gone in, you could have ran your knights in and killed, like, 10 villagers.
Yeah, there's also no scout.
No
scouting action.
No scouting action. Which you could have just kept your scout close to watch while you did this. So
right.
Overall, you once again gave him space and let him go. Now, you actually still had a chance to win this, because him rushing that castle doesn't mean he's protected. This is really good. Once again, where do we attack? If you're gonna push in with rams,
definitely the worst possible spot is where I attacked. I think.
What do you remember? Which thing you attacked?
Yeah, just straight up to the front, the Abbey of Kings. I think
you attacked the Abbey of Kings, which is like, what's the most dangerous thing right here?
Yeah, it's definitely the worst one. It's the
Yeah,
worst one to choose.
yeah. Attack the white tower.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you drop 3 rams and go, you will kill it.
Okay.
And what you do is a little trick you can do is put all of your units on a hotkey and load them into one of the rams. Because the ram physics are a little weird, but what you can do is if all your units are on a hotkey, as they roll up, if you click the hotkey and then right click next to the ram, they will insta pop out. So you can save them damage as they come in, and then if he tries to burn them or tries to repair the white tower, pop them out and immediately attack. So just A move forward and you'll do damage.
Oh, you don't have to click on the RAM and like
No,
use
that's the
garrison.
clunky one.
Okay.
If
Okay.
if you try to use the ram and then F and right click, it will move the ram to the spot you right clicked. If you use the hotkey and right click, they will just instantly drop.
Oh, that's sick. I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay.
it's very nice. A lot of people didn't know that. It came out kind of recently, and there were some couple of players who were like, "Why are you sharing that? It's a secret." But like, it's really good, and it's a way to get close to that white tower without taking damage. And then if they try to burn it, your units are instantly on it. I would have done a third ram, just be safe, and you're still getting some units forward. You are. Here's another thing I can tell you played before. You're really good at villager production. You rarely are not making villagers, and your eco management is pretty good, for someone at your rank. So I see the vision, but this attack was just not it. And the thing is, you do okay. Really, I think your biggest issue is you were too aggressive. Like, you tried to go in here and then you just lost everything.
Yep.
And so, if you attack the white tower, I think you actually still potentially win that. But look, he's just sitting on gold. And then, I think at this point you said, like, your kid is starting to have their issues, so you're like, I gotta just go for it.
Yeah.
Which is honestly actually fine. Like, the thing you have over him is that you have him stuck here. Here's an internal timer that everyone who's listening and you should have in your head, which is about the 14-minute mark if they're going to start to run out of gold.
So they would have to go.
They have to go to another gold.
Yeah.
And if you look, he's at about 14,000, or 1,400. At this point is when you send a knight just to over here to guard these golds over here. Or if you just had 2 knights come in right here, you would probably kill Vills. It's so much about, if you're going to attack, can you spare just 1 or 2 units to attack from a different direction? It does wonders. But you're going for it. If you're really going to go, you drop more production, which is great. Fuck the barracks. Don't do it. Just do archers and knights, because your feudal knights will do okay against castle knights. They really will. Like, look at the stats. 190 and you do 20. He has 230 and they do 24. They have 1 more armor. Like, they do okay. I have seen guys win games in feudal against castle by outmassing feudal knights to castle knights. It's possible. But the second you start dropping other production and then putting other resources into spears, it's just not needed. You just need to take some off of wood and put them on food and gold. Which, once again, the scouting... Oh, it's berries, but like, at this point, if you're really going to all in, just rush your villagers up and take deer. Shoreline fish is one of the best food resources you could do, so you should just been all over these deer and shoreline fish to power this.
Faster.
Yeah. If you're going to go all in, just go all in, like with resources and everything.
Okay.
Because he's not really raiding. He should try to raid, but he's not. And then you just kind of smash your head against the wall repeatedly.
Yep.
And once again, it almost happens, but you never attack the white tower. It actually boggles my mind. And a little bit, but really good attempt. The last one you wanted me to look at was this win that was kind of cringe. But here's the thing. You actually made great decisions by the end of the win. The start of it was a little rough, but the decisions you made by the end of it were top-notch.
Okay.
Which is why you won this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a slot fest to get...
It was a slot. Well, he does the little English rush to you, which you respond with remarkably well. This rush is one of the kind of, in my opinion, one of the easiest to respond to. All you have to do is just find another gold. But once again,
that's what I've been doing. I don't know. I guess especially with French, like you get cheaper mining camps.
Yeah, so it's fine. Once again, if you had dove middle and then curved back, you would have found the gold down here way faster. Also, there are some civs that will try to Dark Age rush you. English is one. Order of the Dragon is one. Mongols. So it's really worth running your scout all the way across towards their base and see if they're doing anything. Or after the initial grab, like doing this quadrant, immediately dive towards their base to see if it's coming, just so you can give yourself a little bit of know-how. So he rushes up, and you come back to base. You do a quick gather of wood, correct. Do another little quick gather. Now you're looking for... And this took way too long because you were guessing. You got very lucky that this was back here. That was... Shout out to the one above, man. Like, also 3 stone in a row here. I just noticed that. But anyway, so you come back here. You should have immediately sent 5 villagers down just because you have the food to age up. You should have sent 5 down and then tried to tower instantly.
Okay.
Tower placement, no. Always put the tower next to the villagers, towards where you think the enemy's going to come from, because you want your villagers to make it really easy for them to hop into the tower. So it should have just been a simple bloop right into the tower. Instead, if they had to run to the tower, they have to run backwards. So always do the tower in a spot that is a little bit more protected. Age up with 4, by the way. You don't need to age up with 5. He goes super all in on you, and I'll give this guy credit. He does a good job at making lots of units. He really goes for it. My question is,
I think you a mining camp here. Yeah.
Well, my larger question. Well, I think you thought you were making one. But you made a house on accident.
Yeah, I just kept making houses. It's pretty funny.
My question is, why the stone?
For the arrow slits.
Oh no, I don't mean now. I mean later. You get the stone for a second TC.
Oh, right.
You do this little fight here, which is correct. And what you're gonna realize, and this is a big thing for anyone in the listening as well. If you're playing against English, which is a huge, or any civilization that does purely infantry-based armies, cavalry is best used as a raid / I am all over your base, forcing them to consider if they can walk out. Because what is going to save you in this game is your raids on his base, because his army is so slow. You keep trying to poke them. You keep kind of snipe reinforcements, which is correct. But this stone gathering man almost killed you. Like, legit, going the second TC was mind-boggling to me. Because you were spending down your wood to make archers, which you needed to make. So during this time period, as you gathered 400 stone, that's 400 stone that could have been wood for another production building. It could have been food for more units. And it set you back pretty hard. Because you never had the wood to make the second TC till way later.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It was... Knowing he's pressuring you this hard, it just felt like a
Like
weird decision.
Giving the game away.
Yeah. That's 472 resources that could have been units. Because at this point you have 12. And he has 28. And honestly, you're just very lucky that his attacks were really bad.
Yeah.
To be honest. Like,
Okay. Well, I'm glad I told you to look at this one then.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. Yeah.
He should have won this. All he had to do was just have his longbowmen target fire your villagers right here, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know what he was looking at right here. That's a little weird.
I think I think since you hit him right here, he was looking at that, would be my guess. I could have looked at this camera view, but then you come with the knights, and brutal.
Lose 2 instantly.
The thing you kind of have to do is like keep running your knights in and out, but it's, you see all his reinforcements coming in. He definitely just like was looking at your knights and missed that. But once again, he could have just kept going. Like, you have 10 units, and he has just right here 16, and he has more streaming across the map. And so, really, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
to be honest, the stone almost killed you. And when you drop the TC later, it kills your tempo a little bit because you lose all your wood. So, now, like, you really needed this arrow attack upgrade way earlier. Because what you need here more than anything, you need so many archers. You just need a shit ton of archers so that you can kill all his spears, and then once the spears are dead, you rush into your knights and you win. It's that simple. Like, you basically sacrifice your archers to kill spears, is what you do in this fight.
Yeah, so the horsemen are not really...
I mean, if you're low on gold, make something. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine to make horsemen because you're low on gold, but you're low on gold because you went for stone. So it's like, once again, how our decision-making, how it, like, really affects our ability to stay... Because all in all, you should win this. If things are even, you are getting more villagers than him, and you have knights, which are the better unit. So all you have to do is just keep making units and keep adding production. Because the thing he has on you early is that he can make longbows really fast. I'm glad that you went on this hunt. It was so dangerous. All he had to do was send a longbow and check you.
Just like sniped him easily, huh?
Easy. If he checks any of these, it becomes a lot harder for you. But he doesn't. One thing I would have preferred you had done is as you gone out, just add walls. So wall here to here. and close it, and then you go to here, you go to wall here to here to here, and like the walls are actually the safest way to do it because if you tower with longbows, they can just attack the opposite side of the tower. But just keep progressively walling, and that also provides you safe space to add farms if it gets to that point.
Yeah, I don't ever build walls actually.
Walls are huge. Walls are so important.
I need to start doing that.
It's really really helpful.
Okay.
For example, like if you walled,
Pretty cheap, huh?
yeah, they're pretty cheap. Like if you wall from here to here, it would have forced him to actually walk around, which is a better attack spot. You know what I mean? Or if you like the chant, especially in these slow attack comps, whichever side they're attacking from, wall the opposite, which gives you safe food, safe areas to set up farms, and if they attack it, it gives you time to respond. But the thing that saved you the game, see, great job target firing the archers. I'm glad you didn't over aggress. I think a lot of players would have tried to push into that, and under the tower, that would have been pretty brutal.
Yeah, he gets like the attack speed.
He gets the attack speed. It was this knight right here. This was what was your thought process when you were doing this?
Honestly, I just sent them up. I was like, maybe I'll go harass, and then I realized I was like, oh, I can just like kill reinforcements. It's like the first time since playing AoE 4 where I was like, oh, I can just kill reinforcements.
Yes,
Like, it's so strong.
Reinforcement sniping is the most important thing to do with cavalry against English. See how he immediately fell back because he realized, really what he should have done is pushed in right now with this force and just rallied his other units to his base.
He starts like chasing my knights around.
It's so bad for him. He overreacted to this, it was a bad raid, but like you realize, oh, his spears can't fight one by one. Oh, and this is great. You're getting so much value from this. You find his villagers, and the key is that you just keep moving because he has to respect it. He has to chase it. You're at home. All you need to do is just keep making units, which you're doing. You're doing a much better job of I just keep making units. As you get extra wood like this, go ahead and drop farms because you will burn through this food pretty fast. So it's okay to start adding farms early now, but the key is you cannot let these knights get caught. Like these knights cannot get caught. They have to keep being alive, and then you keep running around his base. You have to be really careful. Don't run them near the reinforcement line again because they'll mass and find you. At this point, I would have curled back around and hit the top of the base because he sets up farms. He doesn't. He went super all in. Little tip. In the Fog of War, if you see deer, the deer will disappear in the Fog of War as they're hunted. So if you see that, that's a sign. I go attack that.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Same for boar. If the boar disappears, you know they're on the boar. So you drop the second TC, which once again kills your wood, so you can't build archers for a second. It's nice, but like right now you're at 45, and he's at 46. So you're even. You have better units, and the game thinks you're way ahead. And I agree. Like it really just comes down to can you make enough archers? Like you have enough knights. I just need you to make insane amount of archers, and you'll be okay. But actually, the move you did, which was really smart, is rush castle. I don't know when you decided that it was the right move, but at this point we were kind of stalemated like this. Going castle is an interesting decision because it can either be the one that kills you, because if their force is too big, you can't fight it, or going castle can be the thing that wins it for you because you get those upgrades and you fight them with upgraded units and you win. I think the decision to go castle was very smart and won you the game.
Yeah, I think I just thought that he was like he just kept getting super distracted.
Yes, and then you did the second wave, which was huge, and the third wave, and you were just so annoying. His villagers were always on the move at this point. You dove the wood line, which is great. Once again, this was harder for you to do because you never scouted over here. Like you never actually checked. Because if you saw this wood line, you would have known. Yeah, he has to be on that wood line. He has to be. He has to be on the goal.
I actually could have killed way more right there.
Yeah, you backed up, which you had him dead to rights right there.
Yeah.
And then he tries to push up here, which once again, if he had just dropped rams and went for it, I think he wins. He was just very he had 900 wood and he had the rams. He just never went for it. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But hey, you took advantage of it and you won. But the raids were really good. The going to castle was really good, and you got the upgrades instantly. You came in and circled him here, but you notice how big enough longbow mats can still really do work. Like, he's chasing you with so many units.
It's pretty funny, actually.
It's pretty funny, but you played smart. A big thing you can do here, I love that you're dropping more production. A big thing you can do here is once you're like I think if I just rush, like I think if I just get my castle upgrades, I win this next fight. Which having castle archers is huge. Just drop a a market and buy castle.
Oh yeah, because I have like a trillion gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he
Okay.
never pushed your front gold again. I don't know. He did a lot of questionable things, but this is the power of these raids. He's chasing you with so many units. You have 41 and he has 57. But by the time you age up, I think he gets like 70. But you're just all over the place. The last thing he did that was questionable is he did a white tower rush. He didn't need to. Like
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
all he needed to do was drop castle himself, upgrade his units, and I think he beats you. But
Right. I'm like hunting for
yeah,
his
you're
stuff,
you're
but
just kind of
again,
guessing at this point.
I didn't use any scouts, so yeah.
But I need to tie this one off. Your early resource decisions really slowed you down. You're very lucky that he didn't attack decisively, because I think you would have been in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Your raids were great, and that's exactly what you do when you're behind. But my a thing to consider is if he ever does rams and goes in, one thing you can do is charge the rams of your knights, then back up, and you can kill rams that way, which buys you a little bit more time.
What's the cooldown on the charge, or is it just like
Gosh,
as
I
long
don't
as you have
know.
enough, or
You
as long as you have enough deuce?
No, there's a cooldown.
Okay.
I don't know because I don't play knights a lot.
Okay.
It's kind of a thing you get a feeling for. You can tell if you click on something and they put the lance down, then it's like, okay, now they have the charge back.
Okay. I got you. Yeah.
But anyway, that's our session, man. Any
Sweet.
any last questions for me?
No, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I think. Do you think on average with like what I've been doing is French 1TC, the 2CC, and then the Japanese fast castle is kind of what I have. I guess
think-
in my bag right now.
I think having two civs and distinct styles for each right now is good. Is exactly what you should do, because you still have a lot to learn about the game. You have a lot to learn about the game, and switching civs will cause that learning to slow down. So it's good to
Yeah.
just stay with one or two civs and just really get good with them.
Okay, sweet. And then you think against English, just like if they go Abbey, just go for it. You
Go
think?
for
Just
it.
just
Go
pressure
for it.
the
A lot
second
of them
TC?
are not used to people being aggressive onto the second TC. Just go for it.
Okay, that's what I've been like. I've been enjoying doing that because I feel like it helps me learn faster. Honestly,
Mhm.
like whether I win or lose, I mean, it's helpful.
The
So,
biggest thing I
all right.
suggest to people is you gotta have a plan and try it, because if the plan fails, at least you can go back and check why that plan failed. But you have no plan, you have nothing really to check.
Sure.
So as a reminder, consistent production, good raids without losing units. You don't have to kill a vill, just get them to move. Adaptive decision making. Ask yourself where's the best point to attack, where are the resources I need to cut off, and then scouting, scouting, scouting.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Good luck on your games. Let me know how it goes.